Hey guys, Marijka here, Milton Public Library, back with you today. And we are still going through the poetic novels or novels in verse. So to start today, we are actually going to do a book 2. I did the first book a while ago, I think maybe realistic fiction, I'm not quite sure. So this one is the book 2 and it is called Book, and it is by Kwame Alexander. So again, book 1 was crossover, and I talked about that previously, so I didn't want to bring it back just because it was a novel verse. But the great thing about Kwame Alexander, I think, is one, he's just absolutely brilliant, and he seems to get what attracts people to books and pulls them in. And then the fact that he's just this beautiful lyric writer helps, because I again keep saying this, but something about verse just allows the emotions to just be so much more prominent, and he has just such a beautiful way of telling his story while allowing you to feel it. So it's just amazing. So crossover follows Nick. And it follows Nick as he deals with his home life and schools and girls and bullying, and then soccer. He plays soccer. So words also play a really big role in Nick's life. Per his father's rule, his father requires him to pick a new word from the dictionary every night and study it, and his father is a firm believer that words matter, which they do. So so the words that he learns play a very big part in this book, and it's just full of them, and it's gorgeous. So this is another great book that you'll want to read and enjoy doing it, because Kwame Alexander is amazing. So that's booked, and it's by Kwame Alexander. Next we have Words with Wings, and this is by Nikki Grimes. So Gabby is a daydreamer. She starts daydreaming to kind of get away from the constant arguing of her parents, but then she just starts to like fall in love so much with her daydreams and these vivid images that she starts to just do it like regularly, and really isn't participating as much in other things as she should be. So a new teacher though notices that Gabby is doing this and questions her, and then starts to encourage her to take the daydreaming and take those beautiful images and stories that are in her head and put them to words on paper. So to take her from just a daydreamer to a writer, which is a really just beautiful thing for someone to be able to see in someone and convince and convey to them the importance that could be, because having a really good imagination is amazing, and not many people are gifted with just a brilliant imagination. So this is a really wonderful verse novel that focuses on imagination and friendship and the amazing abilities that teachers have encouraging children and insight into things. So this is Words with Wings, and this is by Nikki Grimes. Okay, this next book is another Kwame Alexander, but in this book he is working with James Patterson. So this is a really neat combination of a sort of a normal style novel, and then the verse, and then there's also pictures in it. So something for everyone. And this book is called Becoming Muhammad Ali by James Patterson and Kwame Alexander. This is a biography style book about Cassius Clay, who is better known as Muhammad Ali. So this book is following Cassius Clay for the most part up until he is about 17. They do get into some other stuff, but mostly it's about him, Cassius Clay, to be about 17. So Cassius grew up in a very loving and supportive family. But being Black is never really easy, but being Black in 1942 in Kentucky is even less easy. So this book really focuses on the everyday life of this growing boy, his struggles, his friends, his family, racism, obviously. But it's all made that much more interesting by the fact that we as the reader know when he grows up, he's going to be famous. He's going to be one of the greatest boxers that we've ever known, and thus far. So it's just a really amazing story, and it combines the just talent of James Patterson and Kwame Alexander. So yeah, this is Becoming Muhammad Ali by James Patterson and Kwame Alexander. The last book that I have for you today is called Seraphina's Promise, and this is by Anne E. Burg. So Seraphina wants to grow up and be a doctor. It's actually a secret promise that she made to her dead brother. And growing up to be a doctor is a pretty crazy dream for just about anyone who has it. But for Seraphina, it's made even more crazy by the fact that she is a very poor 11-year-old girl who lives in Haiti. So she's riddled with like endless chores. She has to help her family. She has to go get clean water like 3 times a day. They rely on her. The conditions are not nice. The living conditions are not nice. There is lots of tragedy and so they have no money, and Seraphina has never ever attended school. Her family does not have enough money to afford the attire that is required to go to school, so she's never gone. So she's all of these things against her, but she is determined to become a doctor, and she does learn some herbs and tinctures and things like that, some natural healing stuff that her grandma had taught her, but she dreams of learning the other aspects of medicine. Again, the fact that this is in verse, I feel like just allows you to just feel so much more than you would if it wasn't in verse, because believe me, this would be a very emotional book even if it had not been written in verse. But the fact that it is written in verse, I just feel like allows you to absorb it so much more. So it just brings it to a completely different level. So this is an absolute must read, and it's a great view into the eyes of another culture and possibly even another completely different economic class than you have ever experienced. So it's just a brilliant book, and it is called Seraphina's Promise by Anne E. Burg. So those are my choices for this week's poetic novel or novels in verse, and I will be back next week for another set. Bye.